What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be going over how I buy one house every single month, one off-market deal. So in this 10-minute real estate video, you're basically going to have my entire real estate investing blueprint, my entire system for purchasing properties. And you can feel free to copy it in your market, copy it in my market. I got this system from somebody else, and I've kind of adapted it over the years. So that being said, let's jump into the video. And if you have any questions whatsoever throughout the video, just drop them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to respond personally to every single question, every reasonable question that is. So to start with, how to buy one off-market house per month. When I say one off-market house, I'm talking about pretty much any price range of properties. I've purchased properties as low as I think like 100,000, maybe even a little bit. I think 85,000 was the lowest, upwards to close to $1 million. So you're going to have a wide range of prices, as well as types of properties. There's going to be condos, townhouses, land, commercial real estate, basically a collection of off-market properties. And then it's up to you, which we'll go over in this video, how to evaluate the deal, get it under contract, and get it to closing. So let's get into it. So step one for getting off-market deals. You need to get 25 leads every single month if you want to have like a reasonable chance of purchasing one property every single month. And when I say 25 leads, I mean 25 different people that are calling you or reaching out to you in some capacity to sell their property. If you just go on Craigslist or you go on like Zillow, Make Me Move, or like ForSaleByOwner.com and you find people looking to sell, that's not necessarily a lead. You want people that have received your marketing or maybe through networking, and we'll go over how to find deals in a second here. But you want people basically reaching out to you so you can qualify those deals, because the majority of sellers out there are going to want like market price. Sometimes they'll even want more than market price. I just had a seller tell me he wants $1 million for his 1-bedroom condo, which might be worth like $200K. And then he hung up the phone on me. So you're going to get a wide range of sellers, and you're going to have to only qualify the most motivated sellers and then make them an offer. So you're probably asking, how do I get these 25 leads? Well, I use direct mail. And there's many, many different ways of getting, leads. I actually have a book on Amazon, 21 Ways to Get Off-Market Real Estate. You can check that book out. But my main strategy, the number one strategy I use, is direct mail. So I'm sure you probably have some questions about direct mail, like what do I send? Well, I'll give you exactly the postcard that I send every single week to different sellers. So give me a second here. Let me pull it up. So this is the postcard that I send to different sellers. And we'll go over who to send your mail to and how to find those lists in a second here. But as you can see, it's actually, you can't really tell, but it's actually like a bright, kind of ugly yellow postcard. And it has a lot of text. So if you come from like a graphic design background, you probably think this is like the worst postcard ever. However, with direct mail, if you're like a direct mail nerd like I am and you read books about like old school direct mail marketers and things like that, you know that this postcard is super effective. And I've also used it to purchase numerous properties as well and continue to use it, so I know it works. But basically you want to have like personalized information. This I just said homeowner because I didn't have the person's name, but typically you'd want to say, Dear Bill, Dear Sally, and then have the exact property address, and then just basic information with your website. One thing to note is that people have different methods of preferred communication. So some people want to email you, some people want to call you, some people want to just leave a voicemail on your free recorded message line. So you want to have multiple forms of being able to reach out to you. But this, you can just copy this postcard. Like I said, I got it from somebody else. You probably got it from somebody else. But bottom line is it works. And not only that, but the thing about direct mail, with your letter or postcard, you're not just going to like convince somebody that doesn't want to sell their house that all of a sudden they read your postcard and now they want to sell your property. You want to really be more focused on your list when it comes to direct mail marketing. So your list is going to be much more important than your sales copy, because you're really just looking for the right person that's looking to sell now. And then they get your postcard and it's professional and it's simple and it's easy to understand. And then they give you a call and they want to sell their property. So it's more about finding the right person, which leads me to point number 2, which is, who do you mail to? So let's get into that. So you can mail postcard or letter. And if you want to mail a postcard or letter, you can just adopt that same text for a letter. And then who do you mail to? You want to mail it only to motivated sellers. And this is where I see a lot of real estate investors, real estate agents, different people completely mess this up, because they want to mail to like an entire zip code or like basically the entire city. When in reality, you're probably wasting like 99% of your marketing dollars by doing that. And the reason being is that people that are looking to sell quickly at a discount without using a real estate agent, that might only be like 1 or maybe 2 or maybe even like 5% of the sellers out there. Most of the sellers out there are not going to need to sell, next week, and they're going to want a premium price for their property. So if you just send your mail to everyone, you're going to be wasting a lot of money. It's similar to like a vegan restaurant. Like if you were going to open a vegan restaurant in the city and you're going to send out direct mail, you could mail the entire city, but like 90% of people are probably not vegans. But if you had a list of only vegan people and you only send mail to them, your marketing obviously would be much better. So the motivated sellers that you want to send to, and this is exactly what I do, are high equity sellers. You can do probate, inherited, I can't spell or type. You can do tax liens, pre-foreclosure. You do have to be careful with some pre-foreclosure marketing because some states, I think Maryland is one, has some strict laws. Basically, you're not allowed to market to pre-foreclosure. But high equity, probate, tax liens, absentee owned. If you were to look up just motivated sellers just on Google, you'd find a list of like 20 different groups of people. I usually stick to these 3 right here and these 4. And I'll tell you exactly how to get these lists right now. So the high equity list, I go to listsource.com and I'll show you how to do that in a second here. And I really narrow my high equity list down. So you could do just high equity, but I like to get a little bit more specific because you can really use data to your advantage here. If you were to look at like the last 10 houses you flipped, or maybe even some other investor flipped, maybe you haven't flipped any houses, but you look at like the list that wholesalers are sending you, if you really nail down like the target market for those types of properties, most of them have been owned at least 15 years. Most of them are in certain zip codes, usually zip codes that have a lot of development going on. And most of the houses were built before 1990 or 1980. Some people even go back a little bit further. So you're really narrowing your target down very specifically. And you can get even more targeted than that. Some people do, homeowner at least 45 years of age, equity at least, 80%. But I like to keep it to these 3 criteria. And I'll build this list in 30 seconds here. So you'd want to go to list source. Here we are. Just click on build a list. Just get a free account if you don't have an account. And like I said, there's many list providers, so I'm sure there's other good ones as well. And I'll just do an example zip code, which I've actually done before in my city. So we'll just do Washington, D.C., and we'll do this zip code. And then we'll do the 3 criteria. And like I said, you can get even more specific if you want. But as you can see, there's only 12,000 houses in this zip code that are on this list. So then you go to property, and you go to last market recording date. So we're going to do properties that have been owned at least 15 years. So 15 years, just go 15 years back. Here you can just start from the beginning basically. But you want properties that haven't been sold since, 15 years ago basically. So that whittles the list down quite a bit. So that's 4,000 properties right there. Then we can take it a step further and we can do year built. Now, DC is an older city, so you're going to have obviously, properties that were built a long time ago, but we'll just go back to 1980, which is kind of recent for DC by DC standards. Okay. Oh, I did this wrong. Okay. Let's just do 1800 to 1980 year built. So as you can see, it whittles the list down even more. And then, some people will do absentee, owners at least 45 years of age, that type of thing. But that's how you get your list. You purchase it. It's not too expensive. I think, it's going to be like 10, 20 cents per lead. So that's how you get your list. If you want to get a probate inherited list, just go on YouTube. There's 100 freely available YouTube videos on how to build that list. You can also purchase that list as well. Absentee goes with high equity, like I just showed you. And then you just want to mail your list. So I like to mail 5,000 to 10,000 postcards every single month. I know that sounds like a lot. You don't need to start with that amount. When I got started, I would send out like 100 per week. Postcards are about 42 cents. A letter is more like $1. But you're starting a bit. When you're doing real estate investing, you're basically starting a business. So some businesses might cost, if you're buying like a Subway franchise, it might cost like $100,000 cash. I don't know how much they cost anymore. But you need to spend money on your real estate investing. Don't be afraid to spend $500, $1,000. I'm trying to actually scale my marketing up to the point where I'm spending $10,000 or even $20,000 per month, because I know if I'm spending that amount, I'm going to be getting so many leads, so many opportunities that are worth significantly more than 10 or 20,000. So you can start with mailing a few hundred, get your first couple leads, or you can scale it up to this point. I probably wouldn't start by sending out this amount because you're probably just not ready to handle the leads. Which brings me to step number 2, which is screen the calls. And the way I screen my calls is I have a call answering service. So it's basically like not 24/7, but it runs a lot of the time where I have a live person answering the call, and just for a few $100s per month, I can just use this service on a month-to-month contract, and they basically just go through like a seller interview sheet. Then anytime I get a lead, they call and also text me. And then if it looks like a good deal, I'll follow up with it ASAP. So some of these services, you can use Pat Live, you can use Answer First. There's a ton of these different services. And then I'll put the seller interview sheet that I use right on the screen so that you can use the exact same one if you want. So I'll put it up here. And then this is obviously just going to save you a lot of time, so you're not answering the phone if you're driving around and different things like that. So step 3 is to evaluate the deal. Evaluate the deal. And the way you do this, you're looking for sellers that either say, I want to sell ASAP, or they say house needs a lot of work, because both of those are going to be opportunities where a seller might be looking to take a discount. You know, if we can get it closed in 30 days, we'll take a lower price. Or if the house needs a lot of work, there's obviously going to be less buyers, which means less competition, which means a better price for you. So those are the type of deals you're looking for. And if you get 10 leads, if you're marketing to these people and you get 10 phone calls, and you're using that letter that I gave you, I can guarantee you're going to get some calls like this where they say, I need to sell ASAP and house needs a lot of work, and basically, look, make me an offer today type of thing. And the way I like to run my numbers, I actually have some videos on basically running comps, which I'll put a link to it. But I like to use the 70% formula. So I like to stay around that number. If you don't know what that number is, again, watch my video on it. And then also, I can pay a little bit more than the 70% formula because I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I can save like $10,000 in commission. And then also because I use private money, I'm basically saving another $10,000. So that's basically $20K extra every single deal because I'm a licensed agent and I use private money. So definitely get your real estate license. And then you should also look for private money sources. The best way to find private money, reach out to conventional lenders that just, do traditional mortgages and ask them if anyone in their company does hard money lending or private loans. I can guarantee you there will be some people that do that because they understand the business. They understand the lending side of the business. They're looking to make additional money. And it makes sense. It's a win-win. So reach out to those people. You can also reach out to hard money lenders. They're a little bit more difficult to work with and cost a little bit more, but there's a time and place for both of them. And then step 4, if you've evaluated the deal, you've taken them through your seller interview sheet, and the seller says, look, meets one of these criteria, then what you want to do is you want to call them back ASAP. You want to build rapport, and you really want to find out like why they're selling. You want to find out why they're not just going to list the property with an agent, and they'll start talking about all the issues with the house, and you can present your solution to them. You can say, look, I can get this closed in 30 days. I'll buy as is. It'll be a hassle-free sale. You won't have to worry about anything. We'll get this deal done. I'll send it over to my title company today. So you want to present the solution, and then you also want to build a lot of rapport, because I've done deals before where the seller's like, look, I'll just sell you the house for this price. It was a great deal, but I didn't build enough rapport, and I just said, all right, I'll send you the offer right now. And because I didn't build enough rapport and enough trust, I think some other investor also reached out to him, and he ended up going with the other person. And I thought I had a deal in my hand. So always build up trust and rapport, even if you think the seller is already good to go. And you can make offers in person. You can make offers over the phone, whatever makes the most sense. I would try to make offers in person if you can, but I've done plenty of offers over the phone and then just sent them a DocuSign basically. All right, so step 5 is get the deal to closing. Most exciting part. So if you've done everything properly, if you've sent that postcard that I told you about to these people, you've screened the call using a call answering service, or if you don't want to use a call answering service, you can just answer the phone yourself. I don't like talking on the phone, so I use a call answering service. And then you've evaluated the deal from only sellers that say, I want to sell ASAP or house needs a lot of work. And you've evaluated using the 70% formula or deal analyzer, which you can download. You can download my exact deal analyzer for free if you want on my website. If you've taken it through this criteria and then built rapport and then made your offer, you're going to get some deals. Now you need to send, hundreds, if not thousands of postcards, not like 100,000, but your goal should eventually be to scale it up to like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Just start with 100 though, 100 per week and go from there. When you've taken it through these steps, your lender, whether it's a hard money lender or private money lender, is going to give you the money in a heartbeat. They're looking for deals like this. Most people do not qualify deals this specifically. Most people just see a fixer-upper house and they want to purchase it. But if you really take it through the steps that I showed you, you're going to have a diamond in the rough property. The lender is going to give you the money. You're going to get to closing, and you can rinse and repeat the process. And this is exactly what I do. So thanks for watching this video. And if you have any questions whatsoever, just drop them in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.